So let's pretend you have a bunch of Airbnbs in your backyard, not your actual backyard, but in your hometown, and you're doing well. But all of a sudden, bam, regulation comes in and you can no longer rent out your Airbnbs as short-term rentals. But you still want to do it because you know it's very profitable. So where do you go? How do you know about markets you've never been to or traveled to or haven't heard about that are going to be profitable and make sense and replicate the same returns that you've gotten in your current backyard? So I want to show you the 4 steps that I personally took to find and invest in a new market where I'm making 10x the returns. Let me show you how I did it. So the first thing you have to understand and do before you even start looking for a new market is you have to understand these 3 core things that are going to impact anywhere you invest. So what are they? Number 1, what's your budget? Have you talked to a lender yet? Are you pre-approved? Go do that, and that will help guide you on where you should invest. But the second thing you need to know are your ROI goals. What type of returns are you looking for? Are you looking for a high cash on cash return or a cash flow number? That really depends on you and what your investment strategy and what your goals are. And then finally, and this is one of the most important ones, is what are your personal preferences? Not the preferences of somebody else on social media, but what are you looking to obtain? Meaning, does it need to be in your backyard, or can it be within an 8-hour drive? Can it be all the way across the country, or maybe in Alaska? It really depends on yourself and what you're looking for. Always keep in mind about regulation and your preferences regarding that. So now let's dive into the actual data and how to find your key markets to invest in 4 easy steps. So to find markets that I prefer investing in, I use this tool called STR Insights. Now this tool is going to help you. It's going to take into account your budget, your personal preferences, and your ROI goal. And so I start here in STR Insights and I use their software to identify markets. Now, once you're in STR Insights, what you're going to do is put your personal preferences in and your budget and your ROI goals up at the top in the filters. So for example, if I want to invest in mountain markets, I can select that. And then I can select certain states or regions I'm comfortable investing in. Or I can even just select cities I want to invest in as well. Finally, I can put in my max budget if I'm budget sensitive, or leave it alone. So in this case, I'm just going to select mountains and I'm going to hit search. So now it's going to show me all the top markets based on the gross ROI. Remember, gross ROI is just the gross yearly revenue divided by the purchase price of short-term rentals in that market. Here I can see the top mountain market in the United States is Luray, Virginia, followed by Boyne Falls, Michigan. I can see their ROI here, average revenue, and valuation. So step 1, you're just going to put your personal preferences in, and it will show you the top markets you should consider investing in. But you need to dive a little further and do some more research. So what do we do next? So let's say we're interested in investing in maybe not Luray, but maybe Boyne Falls, because it's also a ski market. What do? You click the market profile and it will take you directly to Boyne Falls, and you can check out information. Now, the first thing, absolutely crucial thing you need to do is you need to check out the regulation. STR Insights provides some insight into the regulation for the market. You can click this icon, it will tell you a little bit more about it, or it will even provide you the source. However, you always need to do your own due diligence. The next thing I'm going to look for in this particular market is the active listing count. This is absolutely key to making sure we're investing in markets that have adequate resources and teams in place so that we're never running out of cleaners or looking for maintenance men and can't find those in the particular market. So my rule of thumb is I'm looking for about 100 or more active listings in a particular market for me to even consider it. Another thing I'll do too is I'll go into Google and I'll just Google cleaners for short-term rentals in Boyne Falls. And if I can't find anything within 10 minutes, I've got an issue. So when I see 100 or more active listings, that means there's plenty of successful properties there. They obviously have to have cleaners and maintenance people. So I know that that market has the resources. So I use that as my general rule of thumb when I'm checking the market to make sure there are resources there. The 4th and final step that you're going to do after you've put in your personal preferences, you've checked and you've sorted by gross ROI, you've checked regulation and active listing count. the fourth and final piece you're going to do is you're going to look for properties either based on gross revenue or your budget. Now, which one should you do? If you have a lower budget, meaning probably less than $600,000, then you're going to do the budget strategy. However, if you are looking for more cash flow and you have a higher budget, you're going to do the gross revenue strategy. If I'm budget conscientious, I'm going to target a market and I'm going to actually use the MLS to do so. So if I'm looking at Boyne Falls, and let's pretend my budget's $400,000. So I'm looking at Boyne Falls and I looked at a regulation that checks the active listings check, but can I afford to be in this market? All I need to do is go to Zillow, type in the name of the market, put in my budget amount. So if it's 400,000, I'm just going to put in 400,000 there. I'm going to say anything over a 1-bedroom and hit apply. And then I'm going to see if anything is there that I can afford. So in this particular case, it looks like there's some condos for sale, but in reality, I don't want to invest in a condo. I want to invest in a single family home. That's a personal preference. So if you're comfortable investing in condos, this could be a good market, but I'm not. So I'm not seeing any single family homes for sale in this market, which means I probably can't afford to be in this market, and it's not a good market to be on my list. Remember, you want at least 15 to 20 markets on your list that you can check and whittle that list down to about 5 to 7 when you're looking for deals. Once you determine if a market can be in your budget, put it on a list. Either put in an Excel file or write it down, but put it on your list so you can come back to it later and create your buy box sheet. The next thing you're going to do, if you're cash flow sensitive, is you need to focus on gross revenue and not your budget. If you have a higher budget, here's what you need to do instead. We'll take a look at the same market, Boyne Falls. Obviously, with a lower budget, you can't afford to be here. But with a higher budget, it's obvious you can afford to be here. And in reality, you can afford to be in most any market across the United States. However, you're not focused on budget, you're focused on cash flow and gross ROI. In order to identify whether a market's going to make sense, we need to check out, are there properties actually cash flowing here and making good revenue? That's the metric you're going to be looking for in the market. So let's take a look at Boyne Falls again, but from the cash flow or the gross ROI perspective. So when we dive into Boyne Falls, the first thing I'm going to do is use this revenue percentile slider up at the top. I'm going to slide this all the way to the right, and I'm going to look for properties that are performing over $75,000 or more. I'm looking for at least 5, because if there's more than 5, I know I can go into that market and I can cash flow at least $25,000 or more. So going into the market, I'm going to click on these little clusters here and I'm going to highlight over them and see what type of properties, or see what the properties are making. So I have a property here doing 72,000. I have one doing 156,000, 154,000, 426,000. Whoa, 291. That's really interesting. So in this particular case, as I'm zooming in and playing with this, I can see properties doing, here's one doing 139. We had 426. We had 156. We had 154. Let's go up here, 72. I think we had one doing, this one too, 291. So there's quite a few properties making well over $75,000. So this is a potential market I might be interested in. So I'm going to take this market and write it down on my list as a potential market to invest in, because I know it meets the regulation criteria, the active listing count, the gross ROI, and potential cash flow that I'm looking to target. Now that you have a list of 15 to 20, then you dive in deeper by searching in the MLS like Zillow to see if there's any deals in that market that fit what you're looking for. That's how I find markets in 4 simple steps. If you'd like to learn more about how you can find more markets that fit your criteria, feel free to check out STR Insights and speak to one of their experts. They can walk you through how to find markets based on your goals.